Hi, my name's Jeff Carter and I'm an urban sketcher. I'm not a professional artist. I don't really do commissions or set out to sell my work in any way. But I love to paint and draw, and nothing better than sitting in a cup of coffee outside with beautiful character buildings like the one behind me, and I can just draw and sketch and paint, and it's something that I really, really enjoy.
This is an example of some of my work. I use 300-gram Arches cold pressed paper, which just gives me it has a really nice texture, but it means I can get the kind of character that I'm looking for in the buildings. And it really brings out a lovely vibrant colour. As you can see in this picture from a recent trip to the Cotswolds, I just sketched this while I was in the area and then painted it later on, but I love to try and bring out the colour, and Arches paper really does help with the vibrancy of colour. This is probably the most recent piece of work I've done, where I've used the colour to try and emphasise the character of the building, but the Arches paper really does give me that vibrancy that I'm looking for, and that's why it's the only paper I use. I also use hot press paper. This is the lovely smooth paper that I use with fine liner pens and with alcohol markers, and this really gives me a different type of picture altogether, but one I can use really quickly when I'm sitting and sketching. My technique is to use a pencil just to create a rough drawing, a rough sketch, which I do really, really quickly, and then I use a fine liner pens to create this black and white image, which really starts to bring out, I hope, some of the character. I use thick pens and thinner pens to really give some contrast between the lines. Once that's done, I then start to use watercolor to really start to bring some of the colour out to the picture. I don't stick to the original colours that I see in front of me. I add a lot of different colours to really bring emphasis to the drawing and what I'm trying to create. Some time ago, a friend of mine recommended Arches paper, and I've never really looked back. It's the only paper that I've used for the last 5 or 6 years. I primarily use this cold pressed 300-gram paper, because I think it really does work well with the fine liner pens, but at the same time I can put lots of water on and I can add lots of colour, and the kind of vibrancy I get with the colour is exactly what I'm looking for. These lovely blues and the rose colours mixed with the burnt sienna of the roof of this building really show colour to its advantage. And here's another example of a building that I saw when I was in Yorkshire a few weeks ago. And it's lovely to capture these buildings. You can see the contrast between the white of the fine liner pen and how the paper really gives a lovely texture and colour to the image. I always tend to tear my paper into these shapes rather than use them directly from the sketchbook. And I just find that's something that I kind of enjoy. I love this broken edge, and I think it gives me a much nicer picture. If I could really sum it up, I mean, when I work with students, I'm always advising them. Paper is the most important thing you can do, and when they test out this Arches paper and they start to see what some of the results they can get, I just find that it makes such a difference to their pictures, and that's why I'm really proud to be part of this program with Arches.